Every fund house has a flagship scheme. These are hero funds whose performance attract investors to the fund houses and help them build their brands and reputations. Take Parag Parekh FlexiCap Fund as an example. The scheme established the reputation of PPFS mutual fund. Thanks to this scheme, investors don't mind investing in other schemes of the fund house. Now, another such example is Nippon India Small Cap Fund. Today, we will analyze one such scheme from Edelweiss Mutual Fund. As some of you may have guessed, we are talking about the Edelweiss Mid Cap Fund, and it's the flagship scheme of the fund house for a reason. If we look at the 10-year returns of all mutual funds across different categories, this fund ranks 9th. It has delivered over 19% return in the past 10 years. Hello and welcome to ET Money's YouTube channel. In this video, we will evaluate the performance of Edelweiss Midcap Fund, examine how the fund behaves when markets correct, and then discuss the fund strategy. There are a lot of interesting data and insights, so watch it till the end. But before we begin, a quick update. This video is part of our fund review playlist where we've analyzed over 15 funds. Some of those reviews have crossed over 2 lakh views. I'm sure you too will find the videos useful. Okay, let's start by looking briefly at the fund's history and then its performance. The Edelweiss Midcap Fund has undergone at least 2 significant transformations in its 16 years of existence. It was launched in 2007 as JP Morgan India Mid and Small Cap Fund. Now, Edelweiss Mutual Fund acquired JP Morgan's India Mutual Fund business in 2016. After that, the fund house merged JP Morgan India Mid and Small Cap with Edelweiss Emerging Leaders Fund and renamed it Edelweiss Mid and Small Cap Fund. Later, in 2018, the scheme's mandate was changed and it was renamed Edelweiss Midcap after SEBI recategorized mutual funds. Since then, its performance has significantly improved. Okay, let's look at the fund's performance now, starting with trailing returns. The fund has performed better than the benchmark and the category average in all time frames, be it 1 year, 3 years or 10 years. In the past 7 years, investors would have made over 19% per annum returns in this fund. That's a decent long-term performance. However, most investors invest via SIP. So let's check the SIP performance of the scheme. The 10-year SIP returns of Edelweiss Midcap are 22.60%. So a 10,000 rupee SIP would now be around 39 lakh rupees. Now, over the same period, an SIP Nifty Midcap 150 would have generated 21.77%. Now, SIPs and trailing returns can sometimes mislead investors. It's possible that the fund did exceptionally well in 2 or 3 years, inflating the overall returns. To check performance consistency, we looked at how the fund performed in each calendar year over the past decade. Now, the fund's performance between 2014 and 2018 was mixed. In these 5 years, it outperformed the benchmark and category average only twice. However, since 2019, it has been a consistent performer year after year. It has outperformed the benchmark in 4 out of past 5 years. In 2024, it has maintained its outperformance. Now, let's look at the rolling returns to examine the consistency of performance further. Now, for rolling returns, we looked at the 7-year rolling returns of the fund between 2014 and 2024. The average rolling returns of the fund was 18.70%. The average benchmark returns was 16.83%, and the category delivered an average returns of 16.70%. So clearly, the fund has beaten both the category as well as the benchmark with a decent margin. In fact, the fund has beaten its benchmark 75% of the time in any 7-year period between December 2014 and November 2024. Now, one reason for this excellent performance is the fund's downside protection. We looked at the fund's behavior when markets fall. This will help us understand its downside protection. For this, we looked at quarters when Nifty Midcap 150 index saw a correction in the past 6 years. Then, we compared the fund's performance with the index and the category during these quarters. Now, Nifty Midcap 150 has given negative returns in 9 quarters since 2018. In 7 out of these 9 quarters, Edelweiss Midcap Fund has outperformed the index. This means the fund's downside protection is also decent. So, Edelweiss Midcap Fund has consistently beaten its benchmark since 2018 and has decent downside protection, which makes its performance stand out. But how did the fund achieve this? Does it follow a risky strategy for better returns or something else? Let's look at how well the fund is managed in the next section. The fund manager Tridhi Bhattacharya joined the fund in October 2021 and has been managing it since then. He is also the Chief Investment Officer of the fund house. Now, Bhattacharya has over 14 years of experience as a portfolio manager and research analyst. In Edelweiss Midcap, he holds a diversified portfolio of stocks. Currently, the fund's portfolio comprises 78 stocks. Now, the number of stocks have increased from 52 in July 2023. Now, if we look at the increase in AUM, one could probably understand the increase in the number of stocks. We have plotted the AUM and stock count on the graph. Now, you can see that the AUM has risen close to 3 times between March 23 and October 24. It was around 2600 crores in March 2023, and as of October end, it stands at about 7600 crores. Now, a diversified portfolio helps to bring down the risk. When a portfolio is spread across a number of stocks, its performance is not limited to a few stocks. Now, besides diversification, we saw an interesting aspect of the fund. The fund manager avoids cash calls. Its equity allocation has averaged around 96% since February 2019. The cash allocation has hardly exceeded 5% in any month. However, this is a conscious decision by the fund management. Before February 19, the cash went above 10% a few times. Now, some fund managers take active cash calls when they believe valuations are too expensive. On the other hand, some fund managers avoid cash calls as markets can go up despite stretched valuations. They don't want to time it and miss out on any gains. Now, based on portfolio, Bhattacharya's investing style seems to be growth oriented. However, he follows a buy and hold strategy. We looked at the portfolio turnover ratio of Edelweiss Midcap Fund. This tells us how often the fund manager buys and sells stocks. If this number is 100, it means the fund manager has changed the entire portfolio in the past year. Now, as of end of October, the portfolio turnover ratio was 48%. In fact, the fund's turnover ratio has declined over time. At one point, it went up to over 300%. Now, this could be because of the fund was going through a merger of schemes. The average turnover ratio of mid-cap category is 80% as of October end. So, the portfolio turnover ratio of Edelweiss Midcap Fund is not that high. The fund has held quite a few stocks for at least 7 years. For example, Solar Industries, JK Cement, and Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company has been in the portfolio for over 8 years. The fund manager doesn't mind exploring the large and small cap space to find good investment opportunities. The fund manager has allocated an average of 67% to mid cap stocks, while the rest is allocated to both large and small cap stocks. In fact, the fund manager has allocated money almost equally to mid and small cap stocks in recent months. Finally, let's look at the top 5 sectors in which the fund has invested. This will tell us if the fund makes contrarian calls. Finance is the top sector of the fund with 13.39% allocation. It is higher compared to the category average allocation of 9.76%. Now, this shows that the fund doesn't follow the herd mentality and goes by his conviction. And with this, we have reached the final part of the video. If you are looking to invest in active midcap fund, you can definitely shortlist this one. The fund's performance is consistent, the downside protection is decent, and it manages the risk well, and the stock selection has so far worked in the favor of the fund manager. Now, if you want to compare Edelweiss Midcap with its peers, I would suggest you check out the comparison video we did on HDFC, Kotak, and Nippon Midcap funds. The link is in the description below. And with this, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you found the analysis insightful. And if you did, then don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. I'll be back soon with another video. Till then, take care.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.